have the focus. You didn't have the focus of the program on that certain group, and you missed them. When we go into these areas and we solve some of these problems that relate to our equity and our equality, what we're doing is we're presenting peace. So anytime we go to correct an injustice, it is to put peace in a place that was being upset. And so as we move into this area of helping these young people with the Berkeley Junior Jackets, it's because we're going into an area where peace has been disturbed. And it has been disturbed through a system that is moving through our city, through our state, through our country. It's been disturbed. And this isn't just one system, it's a system of systems that are not working for these groups that are being overlooked. And we see it clear as day.
Yes.
And part of keeping peace is acknowledging that there is something that is off, that needs to be recalibrated, and assisting in helping that. When we stepped in this year as a family, as the Craddock family, and also as the church, it was because there was something we could do. There was something we could offer that would help peace, that would help.
Reverend Craddock, can you tell them about you adopting the team? I'm not sure everybody here knows about that.
So we're a big sports family, and we're a big sports church. And when we found out a little bit about the Junior Jackets and what they were going up against, that kind of mountain of just incredible obstacles that were just coming out of nowhere for them, we found out about it, and we had been yearning to give to some type of youth development program. And once we found out, we're going to adopt the team. And we adopted the team as a church. And we heard that there was a financial strain, and we were able to assist in that financial strain. And then my family was able to assist in that financial strain. And we've been offering our knowledge as best we can. We've set up some talks that we want to have with the young people regarding leadership, regarding conflict resolution. Where we are right now, there are some conflicts happening amongst the team, and this is where you learn conflict resolution. I was in sports since I was 5, and I could tell you that's a lot of conflict through youth sports when you bring together all of these young children. And it's like Lord of the Flies. Well, who's the leader of the kids? You know, who's the leader? Well, there's a leader on this side, there's a leader on that side. And what you are watching is young people try to figure out how to be a community. And this is what we're seeing, them try to figure out how to be a community, and learn that oftentimes that comes with disagreement. But just because we disagree doesn't mean we can't be at peace. Yeah. So now we're learning how to have conflict resolution so that we can be at peace, even if we had a moment of disagreement, because we are of the same community. And this is what we're teaching the young people at this time. So then it'll start to take care of problems even at their house, because they'll learn conflict resolution. I'm telling you from experience, I learned conflict resolution. I learned self-control. I learned how to have a conversation and listen. And that was a big part of it when you are 10 years old and you all are arguing because there's tension on the team.
Yes.
That no one really knows what the tension is, because it's all young kids trying to figure out how to be a community. They're trying to figure out what the hierarchy is, who's in control. And usually the hierarchy will swing to the person that the coach is giving the most attention to, and then they'll start to look over in that space. And now we have to have the kids understand a whole new area, because there are natural leaders who, as coaches, we tend to lean on. But in this moment, that leader, that natural leader, begins to learn how to keep peace, in the community. And I so many times it's been oh man, you all need to talk about that. And all of a sudden it'll go from the coaches hearing about conflict to, oh, there's no conflict on the team. Oh, there's conflict, but now they know how to handle it. They know how to solve it. And it didn't always mean that we were going to be best friends at that moment, but it meant we were going to respect one another enough to keep peace. Yeah. Because without peace, we can't move forward. Without peace, we cannot move forward. And if we do move forward, we're not moving in the right direction. And so I'm excited to be a part of this growing peace talk that we are having, that centers those who are overlooked, and centers those in the community who have been kind of pushed to the side. And so I'm encouraged, and I hope that everyone here is encouraged to really, really do your part in pushing peace forward. And that's really leaning into some of the inequities, some of the inequalities, and some of the injustices. And I believe in a positive way, us coming around this community of football players who are young and learning how to be leaders, this is what creates peace in our city. So thank you all for being on, and I just hope that everyone is as excited as I am with what Reverend Angela and Coach Lowe have began to bring together to lead forward.
Thank you so much, Reverend Craddock. So powerful to hear you whenever you talk. And there's more things I want to ask you about, more things I want to ask you to say that you've been talking about in recent conversations. But first, I just want to reach out and see, I don't know if we skipped over any basics, but I'm curious if everybody would just want to take a moment, and since there's so few of us here, maybe we could just introduce ourselves and say our name and what our connection is to this, and why we're here this evening, and what draws us into this conversation. And if you have anything in your life that is either adding to your peace or subtracting from your peace that you would just like to lift up, we will hold all of that together. So basically just say your name and whatever else you want to share. And I'm going to volunteer my fine husband to speak next.
Well, you put me on the spot.
I know.
I mean, you're the one who brought me into this. Let me just be very clear.
Kicking and screaming.
No, not kicking and screaming, but it's our connection, and it's because you have. How should I put this? You've really had this call to be a bridge builder in Berkeley between various parts of the population that are otherwise deeply segregated, and you followed this call very faithfully, and made a ton of different connections, and come to realize how difficult it really is to do this and sustain this. I remember that it was years ago, and you may have told that story when at one of these occasions, but it was years ago that you first heard of Coach Lowe. when you were talking with the educators at Craigmont Elementary School, where Leah was a student at the time and where they were having some issues. I won't go into all of that now. Anyway, so it's kind of all these years later to now be so closely connected to Lo and Lynne Marie, who is really working as hard on this as he is at this point. It's just a gift and a joy to see them at work. And so maybe what I want to say for me is I've been pretty busy myself, but whenever I have a chance to be engaged and be involved with them, I just get a tremendous amount of joy from seeing those kids and seeing how these grown-ups embrace them and how hungry the kids are to be embraced.
Yes.
In the way that Lo and Lynn and their whole team, all the coaches and everybody demonstrate day in and day out. It's a really rare thing.
Yes.
And yeah, anyway, I won't go on. That sets me off on a train, but of thoughts about many different things. But I just really, there's a gladness that I feel when I see them at work, and when I see these groups of grown-ups and kids come together and just hang out or practice or play. And they do so under a tremendous amount of strain. For them just to show up when they do, they have overcome already so many different things.
Yes.
Just to be there, to be ready. I believe fully know what that all is, but it's considerable. So I want to lift that up. Anyway, I'll stop there.
Yes. Thank you, love. Sorry I put you on the spot.
Okay.
And now I'm going to put Reverend Dwayne on the spot. See, I don't play favorites.
Hello, everyone. I'm Pastor Reverend Phillips from Agape Christian Fellowship Church. And I'm working on something sort of that deals with this too as well, healing and restoration theology based on faith, hope, and love. And since I've been back in Northern California, because I grew up here in Berkeley, I've noticed the segregation of our communities, and it's along white supremacist Christianity. I know it's not just Berkeley, but it seems to be all over the country. And how do we bridge those gaps? If we say that we're serving the same Jesus Christ, who has no respect of person, yet when it comes to white supremacist theology, there is a color imbalance. Just if you have a chance, go by San Pablo Park. When I grew up, it was a middle-class Black neighborhood. It's not that anymore. So I'm an outsider in the neighborhood that I grew up in. And like I said, Berkeley has totally changed. But like Reverend Craddock said, it's about creating peace. But we have to have that middle ground to peace. We have to each give. And the problem is now is that we're talking over one another in our society. We're not willing to go on the other side and actually learn what the other side is talking about. Instead, we fight and fight and fight. And I've also discovered too, doing my research, that the truth is the truth. There's no variations of the truth. You're either the truth or you're either lying. And we have got to come back to that and take the word of God as a peace emissary in our discussions. And not get so hurt when we disagree with one another. But we could disagree in having faith, hope, and love in one another. So I guess that's it.
Thank
and
you.
I met Reverend Angela, I can't remember now, just dealing with Pastor Mike. Pastor Mike has his claws in a lot of stuff as our spiritual leader. And I just love Reverend Angela's focus, because I asked her point blank, I said, you are a white woman and you are doing more for Black folks than some of our own people are. That's the truth. For Black kids.
It's a calling.
calling.
Yeah. And that's where hope is for me, honestly. And Reverend Phillips, speaking of, we are going to invite everybody to San Pablo Park. We'll give you details before the end of the evening, but tomorrow night actually is the pep rally for junior jackets. They always have a pep rally on Friday evening before their first home game at the Berkeley high school field. So they have their first day of games on Sunday at Berkeley High, and we would be delighted to have you come to the games if you want to. But tomorrow evening at 6 p.m., they're going to have a pep rally for the kids. They're going to get kids pizza and, just raise the spirit for the season. And I think if you wanted to grab some snacks or some waters or a pizza and come on down, or just bring with you whatever you were going to eat, we would love to just have more of the community around us. And this is fairly last minute notice, but we would love
tomorrow where at Berkeley High School?
No, tomorrow's at San Pablo Park. So you could just step right out your door.
That's true. That's true. half a block
away, and I'll be waving. So
6 o'clock, okay.
It's really, as Neil said, it's just always such a joyful time. And actually, at the last meeting, we had all arranged to have Coach Lowe. We were going to have Coach Lowe call into the meeting from the football field and then call kids. And they've got 10 coaches and 150 kids. He was going to call coaches and kids over to meet you all and to just give you a sense of the joy and the vitality and the energy that happens on the field, and all the love. My goodness, so much love there. And tonight they don't have practice, so we weren't able to do that. So, but my hope is that before we schedule the next community peace talk, I'm going to be sure that we do it on a night when they have practice, so that we can get some of the young people in here. So I'm curious if any of you others would like to introduce yourself and just say what it's like for you to be here, what your interest is in being here, and what your connection is to this group, if you have one.
I can share. My name's Leah, and I live in South Berkeley, not far from San Pablo Park. And I have a high school student in her senior year this year, which is very exciting. And I have been connected to Angela for many years, and we've had many conversations about the school system and the way things are in Berkeley, and have attempted to do some work together at different times, but have always been very inspired by you, Angela, and the work that you're doing, and wanting to support it in every way I can. And so, yeah, that has drawn me to finally be able to be here. I had hoped to be involved sooner, but this is the first time I was able to make it to a community peace talk. And yeah, I just want to be part of this community that, has such a history of, trying to bridge racial divides, trying to uplift, especially the Black community. The high school having the African American Studies program, which I think is probably incredibly unusual among high schools in this country, and yet somehow continues to fail. And hearing stories from my daughter about the way things are handled at the high school, yeah, it just feels like there's still difficulties that somehow need to, get our heads wrapped around and figure out how to do better with. So, so that's why I'm here.
Thank you so much, Leah. It's a joy to have you here.
I'll say a few words. You know, I guess obviously, I've been aware that there's so many racial and socioeconomic issues in this country for decades, but I think in recent years it's felt like, but what can you do about it? Like instead of it being a thing, it's more like it feels more personal, or like somehow an increasing awareness of responsibility. And partly I feel like I learned a lot from my daughter, who worked in ceasefire in California in a number of cities, including Oakland, for quite a few years. And she made me, I guess, in a more close way, aware of what people go through in their lives, and you know, how they can end up in the criminal justice system for minor things, and well, just all kinds of things. And so I was really very pleased when Reverend Angela connected me with this group. Basically, she said, "You've got to meet Coach Lowe. You're going to love Coach Lowe." And I thought, well, what, you know, okay, this sounds maybe interesting. I'm not a big sports person, but sure, I'd like to meet him. And oh, he's so special. And I've gone to a few of the practices, and you see, I mean, he's talked about how we're trying to teach them to communicate and conflict resolution and to feel cared for. But then when you watch him, like you get kind of close to when he's talking to the kids, and you just really experience how he's doing that. It's just like amazing. And how can you not support that as much as you can? And also Lynne Marie, I mean, she's sitting there trying to organize it all. I mean, this is like 150 kids, and she's welcoming the parents, and she's got a folder full of the information for each kid, and it's actually very complicated. And she's doing all of that. I don't even know how they do it on top of other work, because it is like a full-time job, if not exactly in hours, it sure is in energy. So yeah, I mean, it's a privilege and a pleasure to support them.
Thank you, Esther. It's always such a joy to have you with us. Dawn and Lauren.
Yeah. So I'm Dawn. This is Lauren. And we know Angela from many years ago at First Congregational Church of Oakland. And Angela and I reconnected through art circles during COVID, and pretty much right away jumped into talking about deeper issues than art, and our longing to have more artist friends involved and understanding some of these issues. So just I'm going to try not to speak for Lauren. Our life is personally on such a shifting level with some things Lauren is dealing with, and for me, this is a way to tap into some hope, like having come to these talks. We live in East Oakland, and yeah, I like this morning, I'm like, oh my God, a Zoom meeting I'm actually looking forward to being in, because there's something about the hope and the love and the connection, the community connection, that is so deep. Like when the call is bigger, and all of you all that know each other from your youth in San Pablo Park and stuff, and you're just joking around, and like it's just, it feels like family. And I also just enjoy feeling welcome and waiting to see where can like supporting by showing up right now for the calls, and being present and listening, and then trusting that there'll be other ways that we can support as time moves forward. So
Beautiful.
just grateful to be here. Yeah. Anything you want to say, sir?
And like you said, I'm Lauren, and I also like like Niels, I got hooked into this by Dawn, kicking and screaming either. And as soon as she said Angela, I said, "Whoa, sounds good to me." And then I came into the first meeting a few weeks ago,
Months.
months ago or something, I don't know. And I really I have to say, when you said that Lorenzo wasn't going to be here, I had a disappointment.
Yeah.
I knew the whole thing was going to be great, but I really liked his attitude and his presence. So I was very disappointed that he wasn't going to be here, and I'm glad that he's okay and everything. And just
Yes.
I'm working in this heat. I couldn't imagine going out in the field in this heat myself.
I know.
But yeah, he sounds like an amazing person. Seems like an amazing person. And I really trust the work that he's doing. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much for being here, both of you. It's really special. These are to have these connections that with folks I've known so long in different capacities to now be coming together around this. And really everyone in this room, we share a passion for these issues and deeply. So it means a lot to be together. Reverend Craddock, is there anything else that's coming to mind that you would like to say? I was thinking, along the lines of peace would be wonderful. But I also thought maybe you would want to invite folks to tell them a little bit about what we're going to be doing with the Khadijah Brown event next month, which incidentally, Coach Lowe is all on board for. And so we're ready to go ahead and launch that. So you guys are the first to know. And Reverend Craddock, I'll let him introduce what the event is.
Yes, so we're definitely honored to be able to have the president of the school board for the city of Berkeley. She's going to sit down with us and we're going to have a discussion. We're going to have a talk. And we're going to bring up all of the community issues that are there that surround our young people and surround the school district. And we're gonna hear from her and allow her to hear from the community. An area that we feel is necessary because we haven't touched this area so well in the past with connecting the school board with especially the Black and Brown community, with the parents. And so this is sparking that. And this is an area of peace that we truly believe. We want peace to be everywhere. We want it to be on the minds of everyone who is involved in the lives of any child that is in the city of Berkeley, K through 12. We want peace to really be a focal point in decisions that are made, in legislation that is brought forth. We want peace to continually be the top thing. When we sit down with President Khadijah and we get to hear some of her thoughts, we will also allow the community to voice questions, concerns, comments, and just have a moment of conversation. That's what we're trying to present in a structured way, because everybody can't get a hold of the school board, let alone the school board president that we will have present to sit down and speak with us at this time. And it's definitely necessary when it concerns peace, because education has a large part to do with peace, knowledge. What is being taught? How is it being taught? They argue about this area very deeply, and they're arguing about it in Berkeley, believe it or not. And so we just really want to touch areas that people may not recognize is a heavy component towards the peace in the city. And the school district is a heavy component towards peace in the city, towards current peace and towards future peace, because the young people that we have in the school district right now, we want them to be the young people who lead us as the elders in the future. And so if we can get them all connected and just seeing peace everywhere, allowing peace to be on their minds. And this isn't just us saying, oh yeah, you're in the school district, so we're focused on peace. No, this means that what comes up, what is voted on, the way we're moving the district, any topics that are addressed that challenge peace, that we are looking at these things as a community and not allowing just for a board of people elected from the community to make the decision without the community being involved, to at least voice how we feel we should move forward, understanding what we're deciding on is going to present peace. You know, every decision I go to make in my life is to present peace in my life, in my family, and in this world. So I make my decisions based upon peace, heavily, meaning, is it going to keep us moving forward? Even if it hurts, will it create peace for us?
Yeah.
Will it bring about peace? Will this part of growth, will this conversation, that if we have this conversation, will this be the conversation that leads to peace for us? And so these are the things that we really want to begin to tackle around the city. You know, it's the school district that we get to sit down with in this moment, and maybe it's Parks and Rec that we get to sit down with in the future, and maybe it's the city council that we get to sit down with in the future, keeping in mind that we are trying to cover and encourage and equip the future generation. So this is where we are. We are trying to adorn the future generation with the tools that they need to be successful in the future. And we have to build this type of peace. It has to come, it has to grow, it has to mature, you know. So even when we don't see it right away, we have to mature it. We have to allow it to settle in, which means that we have to keep coming back and we have to keep engaging in these conversations. So even the conversation matures, so that things are getting handled and we can dig deeper now, and we can go into deeper areas that can be addressed now. Because if we don't start at point A, we can't address point Z. There is, you know, we have to address what's right in front of us, and what's right in front of us is the need for peace. And so we must address the peace. And so we will be addressing it at the end of October as we sit down with the school board president, and we're excited. She is up for re-election. And so this is a moment also where you get to come and hear what direction she has been taking them in, and ask what would be the future, and what are your thoughts? Where are we now? You know, and where will we be in 365 more days? You know, after this next year, where will we be? What will the district look like? And will we be better at connecting an entire community? So
This is
I just want to invite us to be there at the end of October. We'll get the date out to you. It'll be that last week.
Thank you so much, Reverend Craddock. I also want to invite Duffy Ross into the room. I want to welcome you, Duffy. If you can't have your camera on, that's totally fine. I just wanted you to know we see you there and we're so happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm in transit, so my apologies. It's a little crazy over here, but I'm glad to join.
No worries at all. No worries at all. Do you want to say anything about who you are and your interest in being here, and anything you want to say about this topic of interest to you?
Goodness. I'm showing up as a learner and a listener right now, and I work at the Berkeley Public Schools Fund. We're not the district, but we partner with the district, and we're trying to build bridges. And we've also been a part of, lots of like young equity efforts in the district. We're trying to support different leaders. We're trying to leverage the levers of change that we have access to, which is some and not all. I don't know. We all need to be listening and learning from each other. I'm just, I've heard Angela talk about this group, and I'm just here to really listen and learn and hopefully get more involved. So I thank you for having me.
Duffy, it's so good to have you here. And unfortunately, Lorenzo, Grayson, and Lynne Marie are the directors of Young Lives Matter and Junior Jackets Football and Cheerleading are not able to be here tonight, as has been the case for several other folks. So this is a more intimate, small conversation, but still a very rich one. But we would love to have you back again when they're here, and when more of our in the last couple times we've had Coach Lowe and Reverend Dwayne Phillips, who's here, and a handful of others who all grew up together, went through Berkeley schools, had their kids go through Berkeley schools, and they're all African American, have seen the incredible change in this community and experienced the change. And so it's been really interesting and exciting, hard at times to hear them talk about their experience, but exciting to be able to hear it, because there's such a divide in our community. We so rarely get to hear what the experience is like from those who've lived through the change for so many decades. I also just want to lift up that this event that Reverend Craddock was talking about, it's going to be the last Thursday in October, and I don't have the date in front of me at the moment, but I will send it out. And it's actually, Khadijah Brown is running again for school board, and she is coming to Reverend Craddock's church and speaking to the community there. And you are all invited to come on in. The goal of it is to gather as much of the Black community as we can, and any white folks who want to be blessed by the experience of being in a room that is predominantly African American. It is not something that many of us as white people have the blessing of experiencing, honestly. And it is profound. So I would invite you, just for that experience in and of itself, to feel the peace and feel the vitality and the love that is just, par for the course for Reverend Craddock when he gathers a community. It is quite an experience. And part of what's going to be so special about this event is that, tragically, school is not a safe space for the Black community by and large. So when we have these, these debates among people running for school board at the various schools, what you'll notice is that not a lot of the Black community shows up for these. school is not a place that feels welcoming, that feels safe, that feels like a place where they can ask their questions. And so what's really cool about this event is Khadijah Brown is coming to Reverend Craddock's church, and church by and large is safe space for the African-American community, if I can speak that generally. And so this is already a bridge building event, just that she is willing to cross the divide. I mean, she herself is an African-American woman of faith. She's comfortable in church spaces, and she's willing to come meet the community and talk about her plans, her vision for the future of the BUSD, and listen to and engage with them about their concerns in a space that is comfortable and home for the Black community. And that in and of itself is just a beautiful thing. So I hope you can come and participate and just feel the love, and you know, if you're able to. So I'll send details. And I also just want to welcome Stephanie into the room. Stephanie, we're a little group tonight. Hi. And everybody's had a chance to introduce themselves, and I know you didn't get to hear it. And Coach Lowe was out working in the sun all day and was not able to be here tonight. So unfortunately, we're missing him and a few key other people who have heat-related issues going on. But Stephanie, I wanted to just give you a chance to say hello and say why you're here and what your interest is and what your connection is to this group.
Thanks. I'm sorry I'm coming in at the last bit, but it was the first moment when I could.
Of course.
Right. I'm Stephanie. I so appreciate just this conversation, these people, this space, and I'm really, you know, I have a kid at Ruth Acton Elementary, I have a kid at King, and it's really through my connection with them and watching the experience of public school here that I have gotten really committed to making sure things are better than terrible. I mean, I don't even know how to say it anymore. It's like, I don't know what the words are. But I'm very aware of the problems from my perspective. And I am very aware that I am like, you know, like a rich white lady who like bought my house from a Black woman who moved out of town, you know. And I I'm like the equity liaison on our PTA, which is its own form of torture. And I work at UC Berkeley. I'm on the equity whatever there, which is another the whole thing. Whatever. I'm just, but I feel very clear that I want to be building one-on-one relationships with people in this community who care about the community from the ground up. And this space is one of the few where I consistently feel that this is true among the people who are here. So thank you all for being here. And that's
Thank you, Stephanie. Always a joy to have you. So I want to invite you all again to come join us at San Pablo Park tomorrow evening. It's the pep rally to launch the, I guess they've already launched the season, but they will have their first home games at Berkeley High Field on Sunday. So this is a pep rally kind of to raise team spirit. And they would I asked Coach Lowe, is this something I can invite people to? He said, oh yeah, bring them in, bring them in. So anybody who wants to come, I'm not sure how much food they have to feed outside beyond the teams, but if you want to bring food for yourself or food to share, you are welcome to. Could be that there will be extra pizza. They are definitely feeding the kids. Also, as Reverend Craddock mentioned at the beginning of this call, there has been, in the last week, we have learned that some of the young people, first it came clear that it was happening among the cheerleaders. And then we learned last night that also it's happening on the football team, that there's been some bullying that some of the kids have experienced. And this is par for the course when kids gather, as Reverend Craddock said. And it's also part of the beauty of what this team does. When these things happen, they circle the kids and address these things. And so tomorrow night at the start of the pep rally, they're going to take the kids aside. I'm going to take the kids aside with Coach Lowe and have some conversations about bullying and what it feels like and who gets bullied, who gets drawn into bullying, and how we want to interrupt that in ourselves and when we see it happening to other people. So we're going to have that conversation with the kids, and then we're going to have just a joyful event. And in weeks to come, we're going to go back to Reverend Craddock's church, and he's got some leaders who are therapists and various kinds of professionals in the realm of conflict resolution and very well versed in the kinds of bullying behaviors that come up on sports teams, and see it as an opportunity to intervene and help the kids identify those moments, those power struggle moments with one another, and recognize them for what they are, as moments to decolonize, really, and make a different choice in the direction of respecting one another and generating peace. So we are going to wrap these kids in the relationships that will help them navigate the inevitable moments that come up around bullying. And as Reverend Craddock was saying earlier, when kids on sports teams have chances to hear from lots of different adults who look like them, how to navigate these moments, that learning goes in deep. And that is the whole goal of Junior Jackets, to be, with the kids in a relational way, for them to be with men and women who look like them, understand what life is like for them, and who can come on in and show them how to be with one another well. And that basically is peace that then begins to infect the other atmospheres where the kids spend time. So you may catch a glimpse of some of that tomorrow evening. I'm not sure how much of it will be within the earshot of the rest of us, or if they'll just take them fully aside. But either way, we'd love to have you for part of the celebration. If you're available, bring your kids if you feel like it. And Sunday, we will be at Berkeley High all day long, because we have a 14U, 12U, 10U, 8U, and 6U teams all playing. So from the tiniest little football players you've ever seen to 14-year-old football players, they will all get to play. And they will be, enjoying. They stay for one another's games. So basically all the kids and all the parents are pretty much there all day, although that may look a little different in the sun, but it is going to be a joyful time. So feel free to come on by there too. And then I will send details for Khadijah Brown's gathering with the community at Ebenezer Baptist Church, Reverend Craddock's church, at the end of October. And we will likely have another community peace talk before that over Zoom earlier in the month, because I really want to do it at a time when we can have Coach on the field and actually introduce you to some of the kids and the other coaches so you can get a feel for just the flavor of what it's like when they're all together out there doing their thing. So it means so much to me that you all gather. We are all sick of Zoom. I know that. And it is also a blessing because it means we get to come together for an hour, even though everybody's cooking meals for their family and whatnot. So thank you for carving out an hour this evening. And we do hope to have you back again when more of our partners can be here, especially Coach Lowe and Lynne Marie. So my friends, I hope that you feel a spirit of peace as you go out from this place this evening. Know that peace is your birthright, and that when we come together in the spirit of peace, we are becoming a place that furthers more peace in the world. So bless you as you go, and I look forward to connecting with each of you and maybe getting to see you tomorrow night or Sunday with the Junior Jackets. I look forward to more soon with you. Good night, you guys.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye. Thank you.
Good night, everybody. Take
Thank
care.
you. Good night,
Good
everybody.
night,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone. Good night.